Welcome back to the Doctor Who Watching Now podcast from Couch Soup. The Doctor and Ruby Sunday and Mel are back to put a leash on Sutekh in the series finale of Doctor Who entitled Empire of Death. This could be a pretty big salt explosion here, guys. I'm not going to lie, just forewarning you. We hope at the Watching Now podcast we'll do our finale better than this pile of crap. So let's just get into it, and let me introduce our panel for today. We've got Ben.
Hello, I'm Ben. I'm taking a 73-yard restraining order out against Russell T Davies. Hi.
And Charlotte.
That's all I got. Just
And me. This could be my worst ever midnight showing at a cinema, and I'm including Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Ouch, man, that's harsh.
We watched it on TV at home. You had to go pay for this.
Yeah, yep.
And sit amongst people.
Oh, God damn it, people. Ugh.
Yeah.
All right, I think you probably got the gist of where we're at on this episode. Let's go into our non-spoiler overview of The Empire of Death, the series finale of Ncuti Gatwa's first season. Brief overview. Sutekh has been released and he's spoiling everything. He's going to kill everything. He's going to kill everywhere. Everything's going to be fecked up. The Doctor and Ruby and Mel need to find a way to come back from this devastation and bring back everything to life again, because Sutekh's the god of death, and that's what he brings. Ben, I believe you're about to explode if I don't go to you first. So let's go to you first.
The first 5 minutes was good, and then it just went. This episode was a absolute train wreck of monumental proportions for many, many different reasons. There was something for everybody to not like about this episode. Even if you got past some of the really bad stuff, there would probably be a few things you wouldn't have liked. Is the most hardcorest of Doctor Who fans would probably only find joy in the return of some of the greatest hits of old Doctor Who, which this episode can't lay claim to, because it is the exact same things from old Doctor Who, replayed yet again, but with new and interesting twists that really don't add to anything. In fact, they lessen it a bit. Also, this episode retroactively makes another episode that was already bad worse, so that's great. I am going to have to redo my 73 yards score at the end of this too. This episode will annoy and infuriate you. So if you're here watching us talk about it, you're probably in for a better time, to be honest.
You know, it's been 24 hours since I watched this, and I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I watched, because this was not a finale. In a finale, you tend to expect answers, at least a few. You know, try to tie up all those loose ends before we have to wait another 6 or 7 months for another season and forget everything we already went through. I also went by Russell T Davies a notepad, so he has to write things down so that he can connect the dots later. He needs a little checklist. I'm still really confused about Mrs. Flood.
I feel you. I feel you. So as I've already said, I went to the cinema at midnight to watch this, and in the intermission, because we had a 15-minute intermission between the penultimate episode, which I didn't like last week, as I told you, and the finale at midnight, there was a little message from Millie Gibson, and it was a lovely message from the young actress. Said, "Thanks very much for coming out. We really appreciate your support over the season, and you will see the end of the story of Ruby Sunday, and you'll get all of your answers, your questions answered." And then she said, "Well, most of them. We'll still have some surprises." I just want to say, fuck you, Millie Gibson. I apologize for directing this at you, but you're the person who said that message, and you've given me nothing. I really didn't like this finale. It barely made sense. Some of the things that we've been hyping up all over the whole season had no payoff whatsoever. And some of the things we've been worried about for the whole season didn't get answered. So fuck this finale. I'm done.
What were the reactions of other people in the cinema with you?
Basically, everyone walked out with their head held low. Yeah, it wasn't a crowd pleaser. It was that no one was chatting like nicely afterwards. It might have been because it was 1 a.m. in the morning, but like no one was like, "Oh, that was amazing." Like, I can't wait for the next season. Everyone was just like your football team had just lost a match and you were walking away from the stadium.
That is upsetting. See, I was jealous that you were getting to go to the cinema because they didn't do the season finale here in the cinemas like they have previously. Fathom Events usually puts them on here in the States, and I've been to a couple of them, and they're fantastic. I think The Husband's a River Song was probably one of the best finales I've ever seen, and I loved getting to see that on a big screen. I would have been sorely disappointed, probably would have come home and chucked some of my merch if I'd have paid movie prices to go see this.
I think we need to go into the spoiler recap now so that we can put detail behind all of our salt. Let's shake it.
Yes.
Let's shake up the salt all around.
The sodium content is real high.
So let's go into it. The episode starts off like it ended. Twisty, who's now called Susan Triad, has become this death monster, and the doctor's pretty scared. He's almost crying. He's very scared though. Susan Triad brings out the dust of death and blows it all around, and it disintegrates some people in the theater. The doctor and Mel run. Dust. We're going with dust and not sand, because the sand looks more like sand instead of dust, right?
Dust. Anybody? No. Dust. Anybody? No. Dust.
I still think they're saving all that CG money for Sutekh.
Right.
Yeah,
He looks cool.
it's dust because it was dust in the original story.
So the Doc and Mel get on their scooter. The Doc is the one with the helmet on because Mel's hard, and she is hard. She's one of the best parts of this episode, to be fair, throughout. She takes the Doctor and runs away from the gathering cloud of dust. This is a massive dust cloud at this moment in time. And think about Mission Impossible, the one in the Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of dust in there.
I could think of nothing more than the terrible Dark Universe Mummy remake at this point.
That's a good shout.
Yeah. All I could think of was, yep, it's exactly the same. The dust's going through was it London in that too?
It could be, actually.
Why
Yeah.
is London has to like try and fit all of the sands of Egypt into the British Museum, I think.
Yeah.
Like
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah, I think so.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Harry Arbinger tries to bring out the dust of death as well. And you called it, Ben. You absolutely called it. What does Morris have, Ben?
He has a fucking assault rifle in his Segway. Unit gives a 13-year-old a gun.
Why is Russell T Davies arming children in this show?
But that's not the only thing that's bad about that scene. It's not. If you look behind Mr. Machine Gun Toddler,
yeah,
you can see that Rose doesn't give a shit. She's on her iPad.
Yeah, she's on an iPad. Just
Sutekh's here. He's killing everyone. Better tweet about this.
Yeah.
Right? It's Gen Alpha all the way, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, this entire scene just like you could argue that she's like trying to control the lasers, but you'd think that auto fire on the huge thing.
I mean, they're in the Avengers Tower. Surely they have to have
I don't know.
Yeah.
plenty of weapons at their disposal.
And at the same time, we've got Kate trying to give this beautiful speech and Unit doing their usual thing of firing all their ammunition at the enemy that will do nothing.
All the bullets turn to sand. And Harriet is like, you are getting the dust of death, actually. And she blows the dust of death everywhere. Everyone dies. Kate dies. Rose dies. Morris dies. Hooray.
Do you think Rose got her dying face onto Instagram before she passed?
Probably, yeah. Like, Sag.
Sag. Oops, dying. Whoopsie doodles.
Ibrahim's dead. Like the Lynx is dead. Everybody's dead. Dave.
Not Chen.
Gordon Bennett, yes, Chen, everybody. Everybody's dead, Dave.
Rimmer.
He's dead, Dave. Everybody is dead. Everybody is dead, Dave.
Credits.
Yeah, they could have just rolled the credits right there.
Yeah, everybody's dead. Dust of Death is in Unit Avengers Tower. Remember that. It's only 10 floors away. That is the time window. And meanwhile, the rest of the dust from the TV station is following the Doc and Mel like a rate of knots
on their Ncuti Puff Jr.
And now we get like a few like flashes to Carla Sunday, dusted. Thanos is about today, except more indiscriminate. Then we get Mrs. Flood and Cherry. Mrs. Flood's not quiet about going into this long good night.
She's like, you insignificant human, I had such plans. Why the feck do I have to die right now? And she says this to Carla's mother in the open while it looks like she might be about to strangle her.
No, like, I don't think so.
I don't know. Maybe she gets real close to her. I don't know.
Yeah, she was comforting in her, I thought.
I thought her outfit looked oddly like Clara's.
Oh yeah.
That is something we will come back to, I would imagine.
I like Mrs. Flood when she's being just the nosy neighbor. I don't like her when she's being soft-spokenly just sinister. There is something about a person that can tell you you're going to die in a nice quiet voice that makes it even more terrifying than somebody screaming in your face.
Yeah.
It's
like,
yeah.
She immediately, upon realizing she was about to die, turned into a combination of both Syndrome and a Bond villain. Picked the first thing in like general vicinity and said, I'm gonna tell my plans to this person right now and nobody's gonna stop me.
Do you believe in the power of prayer?
I most certainly do.
Then tell your maker, I will come to storm down his gates of gold and seize his kingdom in my true name.
What you talking about?
But she says, I had such plans. I was going to seize this kingdom in my own name. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
She's Simba. It's Simba. The Disney takeover is coming.
Simba.
Yeah.
Remember. We're going to go back to the remember as well. Remember who you are. Flood and Cherry's dead because they had such plans, but the dust gets them. And then we get to the time window bit. Ruby is in a full-on blizzard in the time window. It's not turned on, but it's in a full-on blizzard. And the time window is working again. She sees a drip mum with the cloak that's so great. The fit is so good.
The cloak that screams, I am evil, ha 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 ha.
Yeah. And then the Doc and Mel turn up. They're like, we've got to get out of here somehow. We've got to sort this out.
Bear in mind, the dust has just been released from two separate places. One was about 10 floors up.
Yes.
And the other was miles away.
Yeah. Somehow they've got up or down to the place where the time window is without the dust getting them, even though Harriet brought out the dust from really close by. And it's been right on their tail from the TV station. Let's scoot over that.
Why not? They did.
Well done.
The TARDIS in the memory is almost solid. So he tries the door. Why not? I mean, last episode they said do not feck with anything in a time window. Okay, so everything will explode and everyone will die. But let's mess with the time window now, because what else are they going to do? To be fair, he opens it up and it's a tiny TARDIS, like a remembered TARDIS. They said, didn't they? It's full of Easter eggs. It's exactly like all of the Marvel Easter eggs that everyone's going, yeah,
Welcome to reference TARDIS.
It's reference to TARDIS. It's the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme in a TARDIS form.
One thing I did like about this was Mel for hugging Colin Baker's coat.
Yeah, that was
that was sweet.
But before they all enter it, Doctor says to Ruby, it's sort of okay, but it's not solid enough. You need to remember. And then Ruby does a remembering face for a bit. Like she's really concentrating. It's like if you told a 3-year-old to remember something or think about it, think hard about what you've done.
I have a problem with this. How did Ruby remember all the previous iterations of the TARDIS that are jumbled up in there?
I just think it was working off of Doctor's memories, but she was the one in charge of the time window. So it was like a combination of both.
That makes no sense, man. That makes no sense. It was Ruby who had to remember.
Yeah, but when the Doctor picks up the screen, it's Colin Baker.
Yeah, it is.
Because they want to do a look what happened last time on Doctor Who.
Previously on Family Guy. Certain of his own wit and intellect, Brian opened up a Twitter account.
If you ask me, Twitter is the perfect place for that guy, because he's a twit.
For some reason, the Colin Baker Doctor, to show what happened with Sutekh last time, worked in the time window room on the screen. Then Sutekh turns up with Harriet, who's still around. She's no longer a harbinger. She's just a minion now. She's not announcing things are coming. She's just there. And Sutekh and the Doctor have a conversation for a second. Sutekh lays a bit of his evil plans out and how he survived. He's basically been doing Cape Fear on the TARDIS for 48 years.
Cape Fear! Cape Fear! I'm going to do like from Cape Fear!
Oh, this is such a problematic thing that's happened. The TARDIS exploded in the Matt Smith era.
Mm-hmm.
It died, and they remade the universe with its great big bang. Sutekh had nothing to cling on to. It was gone. Completely gone. For like ages. Where were you clinging on to there, Sutekh, when the universe got flipping restarted?
Particle number 999145.
There's been parts where the TARDIS has been taken over. There's been parts where the TARDIS has been deep fried.
Mm-hmm.
There was a part where the TARDIS was almost destroyed and David Tennant's hand grew out of Donna Noble and they had to teleport away. The TARDIS got separated into two. Did Sutekh have to choose which one he was going to go along with? What if he'd stuck on 14's TARDIS? He'd just be sat having tea with flipping Donna's family.
True.
It's like there's so much stuff has happened to the TARDIS over the years that it becomes the biggest plot hole to say that he's been there the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way. The TARDIS has been destroyed, stolen, galvanized in The Sound of Drums, gone through multiple timelines. There's the part where it went to another dimension, where Sutekh would have lost all of his powers anyway, because he would have lost access to his flipping power source.
Yep.
Ow! Yeah.
It doesn't work. It cannot work.
Yeah, Davies can't explain away any of that. I mean, I know the one where it explodes, is that around the Pandorica?
That's the Pandorica story.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, and that one, it just goes boom. That's you can't explain that away. So I don't. There's just so many plot holes, and they're not just little plot holes. They're huge, and there's a lot of. It's like Swiss cheese that you can drive a truck through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's an absolute carnival of them in this episode, I swear.
The Doctor asks why he's still alive, which is a good question. And why hasn't Sutekh killed him? He's he's been there for 48 years. Why hasn't he been killed up until now? And then now, when he's right in front of him, he's not killing him. So good question. Why hasn't he been killed? He takes that opportunity while Sutek's a little bit confused to run off into the tiny TARDIS with Ruby and Mel, and they take off into space.
There's a part there that Sutekh mentions where he's been dropping Susan triads all over the places where the Doctor's landed.
That's true.
Which is hilarious because it just means that Sutekh's been taking his doggy doo-doos everywhere he's went. And the Doctor has failed to pick them up. Sorry, Doctor, you needed to get out your doggy bag.
That is true. Sutekh explains that a copy of Susan, which he had sort of in his memory banks as Susan from the Doctor's past, he's been dropping off at every place that the Doctor has landed, and every time he lands, they sort of get stronger, like images of Susan. So by the time, because he lands on Earth a shitload compared to any other planet, over time, Susan has become Susan Triad, who is like a mega mogul technology beast in other things, that she's just an ambulance. It's just like an AI. So just copies of Susan. We don't know if it makes sense.
But they say that it happens because the TARDIS is perception filter is what Sutekh uses to project them, which, oh boy, has a range of 73 yards.
All right, let's get into 73 yards. Like we said on the 73 yards episode that we would revisit it when it started to make sense. They have attempted to make it make sense in here in two different places. The first one is this one, which is around the perception filter. And the only thing that Ruby has taken from the 73 yards episode is that she knows how to convert meters into yards, that number of meters into yards. She's like, oh, I know how many meters are in yards. How do you know that? Well, I'm just good at it, I guess.
I just know.
The rest of the 73 yards didn't actually mean anything to it, and she just knows how to convert 66 meters into 73 yards, basically.
Ben, has it, because you would know, has it ever been discussed previously before this season how far the perception filter?
Not at all. In fact, it's been broken. The only time that I've ever used a perception filter that I can remember is during the Family of Blood episode, where the Doctor says he's put one on a fob watch so that everyone will think it's just an ordinary fob watch. Nobody will try and open it. That's all they used it for.
That's kind of that's what I was thinking, because I'm like, well, if the projection or the perception filter was working, it wouldn't look like a phone box.
All it does, because in the Sound of Drums episode, they use it as well, is it makes people who aren't looking for you not pay attention to you. That was a Davies story. He knows how it works.
Yeah.
But 73 yards changed people's perceptions mentally and visually, which is nothing it's ever done before.
We all agree that 73 yards nod was stupid.
It was a throwaway line to try and make people think it made sense because it was vaguely related to a perception filter.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It makes it worse.
Yeah.
It makes it far worse. 73 yards now makes even less sense than it did when it aired.
That does not make sense.
Oh dear.
So
thanks, Russell.
Yeah, well done, Russell. You've made it worse. I already give this episode 73 yards a 2, and now it's gone down. So brilliant. So the Doc and Mel and Ruby, they've taken off in the tiny TARDIS. They need to make it stable for a second because fire breaks out. Because it's a remembered TARDIS, it shouldn't really fly. It shouldn't really be able to get out of the time window because it's a remembered TARDIS. But they made it, so hey ho, because Ruby's memories are so strong, they made it a real thing. I'm a real boy now, says the TARDIS. But fire breaks out. They stabilize it using intelligent rope and intelligent gloves and a fire extinguisher and some know-how.
I mean, see here, that makes sense that Ruby would remember those things being in the TARDIS because they were hers. I don't know where she's remembering Colin Baker's coat from, unless somehow Mel counts there.
Once they're in this high in the sky, they're in orbit. They open the door and look down on Earth, and there's dust everywhere, and it's all converging, and Earth's about to be swallowed by it.
All I could think of looking at that was flipping Anakin Skywalker going, no!
Yeah, he does scream like that, and he cries again. You know,
he does.
He cries a lot this episode.
He cries a lot. He has cried a lot this whole season. This particular scene seemed a little bit more genuine to me. Like,
well,
the emotion, the way the way his face twisted, it actually felt more real than some of the other ones that he's.
Yeah. I mean,
crying scenes we've had.
If he cries at everything, why should we be invested in anything he cries about? Honestly,
that was my point. Now, Russell T Davies has come out in an interview and said he's purposely made the Doctor more emotional because that's his character. That's who he is. He is a more emotional, in touch with his feelings Doctor. Now, I have no problem with that. It's just that it dilutes the effect of him screaming and crying when he does it in every episode. Oh, he's just crying again. He's done that for the last 5 episodes. It might not even be that serious. He might have just stubbed his toe or something, or stood on some Lego, which, is worth crying about. But it's, maybe not end of the world proportions here.
Can we keep that whole he's supposed to be more emotional thing tabbed for later? I have something to bring back for that too.
It goes to Sutekh. Sutekh talks to Susan Twist, Harbinger mode. So Sutekh wants to find the Doctor and Ruby and Mel because they're the last people that he can't find, which is also bullshit because we see another person in a second, but it's the last people that he can't find. Susan Twist, although being controlled by Sutekh, assumes that it's the Doctor. Sutekh says, no, the child has a secret that I need to know. At this point, fine. We all think she's got a secret that everybody wants to know. We've been wanting to know about it for the whole season.
Yeah, Sutekh is the audience right now.
And then it cuts to the Doctor going into a random tent on a random planet. It's a dead planet. There's a random planet with a tent, and then it starts talking to a rando woman in the tent. It's the only person around. She has a bit of water and like a stall, it looks like she's been selling stuff in the past, but not anymore. And there's a little baby carrier in the corner. There's a little conversation here, which is talking about how the woman is starting to forget things because everything's dying, even her memory is dying. And the emotional bit of this is when she says that I think I forgot that my baby died. That's pretty powerful, right?
Yeah, it was pretty powerful. Like, there was a lot of stuff in this conversation that was like actually Doctor Who. Like, it was building up just how people are really across the universe being affected by the stuff. It even mentions how it goes down bloodlines as well, which I found was pretty terrifying. Like, if one member of your family gets got, it goes down the whole branch and possibly up the branch too.
Yeah,
which is quite an amazing power to have, really, for a death god.
I really liked the scene. I wish we had more of this scene and maybe less of some of the other side questy kind of storylines that we had going on in these 2 episodes. Because I mean, this was a poignant conversation and actually added some meat to the entire story.
Yeah,
I just wish we would have had more of it.
It's not just that; it's just like right in the middle of it, they drop a 12th Doctor reference, the spoon.
Oh,
the Peter Capaldi's Doctor wielded a spoon. And he's saying, I can save the universe with this spoon.
Yeah, that's from the episode where he goes back to Gallifrey, right?
I believe it might be the Robin Hood episode.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is Robin Hood episode.
He gets a spoon. Now, I don't get this here, right? Because there's lots of stuff in this episode which I don't get. But the woman says, oh, metal's pretty precious. There's not a lot of it around anymore. Does the dust of death, does that get rid of metal as well? I don't quite understand. It's not alive.
I think it just turns everything to sand.
Does it though?
Might. I think part of it might be as you forget things, nobody is there to be able to work on metal.
But like
you have to know how to make things out of metal.
true, but you would, if there's a spoon, there's going to be a fork where you found that spoon usually, right? Like you look at Unit HQ, right, where Sutekh is now taking base, because it's Avengers Tower. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you take base in Avengers Tower? But none of the computer screens have gone. Nothing like that has gone. So like the metal's still around. So why is this one spoon so precious? Because they don't have any other spoons on the whole planet. Nobody used spoons. It was all chopsticks.
Yeah, it doesn't. But I guess
Maybe
it's
I'm
just a
fixated.
spoon. It's just because it's a spoon.
Or maybe the conversation was actually longer and they cut part of it.
Oh, maybe.
And it's just an editing thing where maybe there was part of that conversation that addressed the need for metal and why it's not available.
Random lady gets dusted because it got through the bloodline, and the Doctor walks away with the spoon and he jams it in the time window screen, which he's still got, and it makes it work better because it's a spoon, and that's, you know.
Yeah.
What was that?
Woodpecker.
Yeah, well, it did sound like that. It makes the time window screen work better, and you can start seeing some stuff on there. It gets a little bit fuzzy when he's holding it, but Ruby, on the other hand, every time she talks about it, pictures come up on it. So the first time it comes up with the Ruby Road and the mother, and then she passes it over to the Doctor and there's nothing there, and then passes it back, and now there's a politician on screen. It's Roger Ap William. No. Yes, that's right. We're back to 73 yards.
No.
Why do we have to keep going back to this episode? This episode was terrible. And it makes no sense for him to be there because it's not 2046. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why is any of this happening?
I don't know.
I would love an explanation. I would love a personal apology from Russell. I really would. This episode gave me a headache.
Roger Ap William, I guess, is important somehow, and we need to be reminded he exists because of the plot line that Russell likes.
So
I mean, Russell T Davies did come out and say he really thinks that 73 yards is one of the best things he's ever wrote.
No, absolutely not.
No,
there are a plethora of other things that he's written that are so much.
Why he thinks that, but yeah. So Roger Ap William, yeah, I think the exact sentence is something like they mandatorily got the DNA of everyone in the United Kingdom, which means that Ruby's mom can't hide, which makes me immediately feel like, this person who is apparently Ruby's mom can be DNA tested if this shows to be believed, potentially, which means that was relevant.
Yeah.
Apparently.
So 73 yards basically is a whole episode to establish, one, the perception filter is 73 yards. And two, Roger Ap William is a dickhead. That's what it is. That is just something to say, we need a really bad prime minister, but we haven't established there's a bad prime minister in 2046. So let's make a whole episode about it, and then sort of wipe that clean, but we'll still remember that there was a bad prime minister in 2046. Isn't that great?
Yeah, but this just means that happened in the main timeline too, and Ruby wasn't there to stop him in this timeline.
Yeah.
What happened in this timeline? Did he get the nuclear codes? Did he blow shit up? Yeah. I want to know that. Tell me that story, please.
He did get the nuclear codes. He loves nukes. We've already established that he loves nukes.
Like, I need to know what was different and why is this important again? Was he stopped? But the doctor mentioned him and he knows he existed, said he was the worst one in history.
Mm-hmm.
What happened there? Where's my story that I want to hear instead of Ruby backing off down a fucking football pitch?
He did mention in this episode that he was part of the task force to get him out of the Prime Minister's chair. That's a more interesting story than 70 fucking 3 yards. Anyway, I digress. 2046 is established that everyone in Britain was DNA tested, so Ruby's mum can't hide at that time unless she was already dead at 2046. If she was already dead in 2046, they'd be fucked. And so they go to 2046. At this time, Mel is feeling a little bit tired and forgetful, and she's feeling something in the back of her brain, which sounds a bit like Sutekh. She's on the way out because they know who she is. They know exactly who she is. They know the bloodline into Mel as well, so they can get to her. They go into what seems to be some sort of... Is it supposed to be 10 Downing Street or some sort of government department?
The Ministry of Health.
Okay. It goes into the Ministry of Health, goes into a random office, attaches the time window screen, and they start doing a little search based on Ruby's blood. The doctor sends Mel out to be lookout.
Yeah, just in case something's coming, guys.
The search happens. It's snowing again. It's always snowing around Ruby.
It's always snowing in Ruby Delphia.
Yeah. It makes it worse for Mel because she's already cold. So it's snowing, and it finds a match, we think. It finds a match. But before we know who it is, Ruby turns around and Mel's been a little bit different.
Yeah,
she's a little bit different.
She's had a facelift.
She had a little bit of a Sutekh facelift. Or Mel. I liked Mel. She didn't deserve this. Mel's like the best person in this episode.
Yeah.
Instead of dusting them there and then, Sutekh wants to speak to him. So he transports all three back to the unit headquarters, unit tower.
Yeah, because Sutekh will not get off the Tardis.
Yeah.
I think he generally does not want to leave. He's like, this is my altar. I stay here. This is where I piss.
But he's also a stickler for uniform, because when he transports them, he gives Mel a cloak as well. Just exactly when they transport, Mel gets a fancy new cloak. That's nice of him. Got a uniform for his harbingers of death. The tiny TARDIS stays in 2046 because they transported it some other way.
That's just been left there.
Yep. At this point, the doctor starts to try and bargain with Sutekh, saying, "Come on, man, let's just have a little chat, a little chatty chat. Let me have my world back. I'll be. You can't have everyone else.
I will worship you. Yay!
Yeah, I'll worship you forever. Just leave them be." And Sutekh goes, "Nah, boy, get down." And then he gets green all over him, and
Pyramids of Mars, greatest hits.
I thought it might have been because we haven't seen a lot of green, but he did have green eyes in the old Pyramids of Mars stuff.
There's a bit in this episode where he talks about death being good. That's greatest hits. There's the green glow. That's greatest hits. The way they defeat him. That's greatest hits. In fact, Sutekh doesn't do anything that he generally didn't do in the old episode. It's all the same guy, same things, nothing new. Doesn't even bother to say a new line, I think.
So we've established that Russell T Davies can be consistent. He can stick to something that's already been written.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same character, which is
why
great.
can't he do that with the TARDIS and the perception filter?
Oh,
I don't know.
But I mean, I don't understand. Like he's being really accurate and really faithful to what was already established for Sutekh.
Yeah,
but he's not.
Well, that's because Russell T Davies loves that episode. He said it's his third favorite episode of all time.
Ruby panics because the doctor's down on the floor, injured, So Ruby steps forward with the time window screen and says, I'll tell you who my mum is. Because Sutek's dead interested. The only thing that he's interested about, he wants to know who Ruby's mum is.
Yeah, he's pretty obsessed with this.
He's pretty obsessed. Something that he doesn't know, and he should know everything because he's a god. He steps forward with the time window screen, says, I'll tell you. Whoopsie, I dropped it. Smashes everywhere, and in the confusion, she takes the intelligent rope and hooks it onto his dog collar.
Yeah, this is where the circus music starts.
Mhm.
And the doctor has a dog whistle and a fancy glove.
Yep, intelligent gloves with the intelligent rope means that it's dead easy to pull.
Takes him for a walk.
So it's not like he hasn't used a whistle to call the TARDIS before. I've seen that before, right?
Yeah, he's done many things different to call the TARDIS.
Yeah. So he's called for the TARDIS to please mate.
There was a very nice scene from River Song in the Matt Smith era where she basically goes into, I've seen him call the TARDIS with the click of his fingers. So essentially, ever since then, it's just been established the Doctor can control the TARDIS with kinetic and psychic abilities.
The Doctor starts calling the TARDIS. The TARDIS starts fighting back, blasts Harriet Arbinger.
Oh yeah, they pull out the entire flipping panel that Rose Tyler got blasted with in The Parting of the Ways. It's the same deal, like the entire time vortex that's in the TARDIS just blasts him.
Sutek's struggling to hold on to the TARDIS at this point. The TARDIS is trying to get free. TARDIS gets free, and now the Doctor and Ruby have the TARDIS. And let's take him for a walk, shall we?
In the time vortex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the vortex.
Did the Doctor not think that it could be incredibly dangerous to just drop the god of death into like all of time?
But death plus death equals life. So
that's not how that works. Death plus death equals more death. It's not an Uno reverse card. If Grandma's dead and I shoot her, Grandma's still dead.
Yeah, we're not doing algebra here. Two negatives don't make a positive.
Like what?
It's just more negative.
You can't kill the concept of death equals life.
I bring death to death, which is life. I'm the life man. That's what he said. And everyone starts undusting again, because that's how it works. Everyone starts undusting. I assume that it only works on people that Sutekh dusted with his own dust of death, or else it's just everybody ever that's just comes alive again.
If they'd panned to Gallifrey alive again after that, I would have cried laughing. I'd have cried laughing because it means that Russell T Davies has yet again undone a previous writer who wanted Gallifrey dead and be like, no, it's back again.
So he waits until enough people are back alive. Let's say everybody. He's not got any way of confirming that everybody's back alive, but he sees the planets come back.
Doctor Strange portals
in
the sky.
Okay.
Doctor Strange in the sky. It's exactly the same as Spider-Man No Way Home. Big purple stretch across the sky. They've been taking their graphics from the Marvel section. Ooh.
Yeah. So everyone's back. Morris is back. Ibrahim's back. Kate is back. Rose is back. Cherry's back. Carl's back. Everybody's back. Mrs. Flood's back. Sorry, Ben, again. Everybody's back.
Yeah. Problem the next. She just announced her big evil plans to Grandma. She doesn't care.
No.
She doesn't remember. Don't
think she remembers.
She's not. She's just too senile, I guess.
Short-term memory loss.
Well, I mean, right. Let's be fair. The only thing that Sherry is going to remember the next day is that she still hasn't gotten a cup of tea. It's the only thing she cares about.
They start hugging like they know they just died, though. So everybody on the planet now needs therapy.
The Doctor becomes death by closing the doors and snapping the tether, the intelligent rope. So Sutekh gets eaten up by the time vortex.
The idea was in the first story that the Doctor sent him forward to his own death. So he would have basically gone so far in the future of his own self that he died. I think that original premise is still here, I think that him clinging to the TARDIS was the reason why that didn't come into effect immediately and he was able to regain his strength. I think once he was cut free of the TARDIS, that original premise continued and he basically evaporated from living until dead. Like, I don't think he's functionally as immortal as he thought he was. But yeah, the idea was that the original premise of Pyramid of Mars went through and he just died. He could come back, though, because there might be a second Sutekh sitting on top of another TARDIS.
He might have been split in two as well at the same time as...
One of the funniest memes I saw about this was the 60th anniversary when all of the 13 TARDISes were all at the same place and there's just a load of Suteks all pointing at each other on each opposite side.
Like the Spider-Man meme.
Like Spider-Man meme.
That's great. I love that.
So Sutek's dealt with. It's time for a pizza party. Pizza party back at unit. Kate's getting a bit fond of Ibrahim at this point as well.
Oh.
Bum chicka wow wow.
Bum chicka wow wow.
And all of the bisexual fans screamed out in pain. No, seriously.
No,
they're really upset that she's not a theme of a woman. Twitter
I'm
was
sorry. Okay, this is new for me. I am bi. I would love to hear this theory. What's
so basically Twitter was using Kate Stewart as sort of like a lesbian icon for the longest time because she wore a pantsuit and she looked real handsome.
She could still be bisexual though.
I mean, she could be, but the fact that they've shown her on screen with a man has made them cry out in anguish.
I saw a few.
I've been married twice to men.
So it's been a bit of a thing.
I had not heard of this controversy.
Oh yeah, the controversy.
Why do they care?
They care.
She's a side character.
She has to be with a woman. They want it so bad.
Why does she have to be with anybody? This is still a kid's show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Kate's life. Let her live it, man. Come on.
Who cares who's in her bed? She's at work right now. Leave her alone.
Literally, we're talking about hand holding. That's
right. We only ever see this woman in her workplace. Why are we caring who she's dating? She's at work.
I don't know. It's a big deal, apparently.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, thanks for the information. I'll have to go troll around on Twitter and see what I can find.
All right. I know we're procrastinating talking about Kate's sexuality because we're coming up to the worst fucking bit of the episode.
Oh, no.
The DNA test is back. We somehow the information has survived the crashing, and we see who Ruby's mum is, and it's Louise Miller. Who's Louise Miller? You may be thinking she's just a normie,
boring human.
Just a normal.
That's the whole point.
Insignificant human,
and that's the whole point, guys. Because the whole reason that Ruby's parentage was such a mystery is to prove that anybody can be special if we put speciality on, if we put importance onto that mystery. Then that's the whole point.
Bollocks to that, mate. Like, what the fuck was he thinking? You've already set up two supernatural traits of Ruby throughout this series. You can't just go ahead and be like, but her parents were normal and there's nothing special about her. Sutekh flipping came out of hiding, looked at her mom and went, huh? She was in an evil cloak. It was so evil. It was so cool. You're telling me this 15-year-old girl in the middle of 2005 ain't wearing her Adidas and hoop earrings and instead opted for flipping evil 16th century Gregorian chanting monk outfit?
Yeah.
What the absolute hell are you playing at, Russell?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And I know what he's doing because he's told us on the description of the episode, the commentary. He wants her to be normal because Rey Skywalker wasn't allowed to be normal. He's a Last Jedi stan, and he hates that Rey Skywalker got it. And he tells us in the commentary that's the reason why she has a normal parentage.
Yeah.
It's because of Star Wars.
It was just such a letdown. her finding out this parentage issue. Because, we, for the whole season, we're like, okay, we even had the maestro was like, that girl is wrong. Like that, there's something here. Didn't know anything about her being an orphan. Just looked at her and said, this is wrong. In my head, we get this answer about her parentage, and all I hear is, wonk wonk.
Why does it
I don't know why
snow,
I think
Charlotte?
about Star Wars, right? Exactly. She's got to have something special about her. She's got to be something other than just human for this kind of shit to happen. Because I don't like summer. I don't like to be hot. I'm not making it snow in Indiana in June. I wish I could. It makes absolutely zero sense.
It doesn't make sense.
He made a literal special snowflake and then said, nah, nothing.
It's like he pooped out. He gave up on all the connections working. He's like, fuck it. We'll just give her a normal mom.
He wanted to vent his Star Wars frustrations.
Well, you can do that without setting her up as a supernatural being. Because you can't explain the snow. You can't explain the maestro thinking that they've got a secret song in there and it's not right. You can't explain that with a normal fecking parentage. You cannot do it. And you can't explain it with a druid 15-year-old mother who does finger points at dooms at signs because she wants to name a child, even though the CCTV, she wouldn't have known where the CCTV was. She would have known that the snow was too thick to even see it on a camera. And she waited for the doctor to come back from the goblins so she could point at the fucking sign, thinking that the doctor would know, so the doctor would tell someone what her name should be. It doesn't fucking make sense.
None of it makes any sense. It's just a forced story point because he wanted the ending he wanted. Russell T Davies, newest hack writer on the scene. Brilliant.
If the church was on Doo-Doo Road, she would have been Doo-Doo Sunday.
Road hazard.
Right, so then, coffee shop scene, right? So Ruby goes to see her mum. They have a nice-ish reunion. Louise wants to talk to her, which is lovely. I thought it was a little bit harsh on the barista because Ruby never picked up the coffee after,
Now he's the one who waits.
Yeah, he is the one who waits for Ruby to pick up her coffee. We go back to Carla's place in London. It's a whole family arrangement now. They talk for a bit and they're having a nice time. Ruby goes to see the doctor. And the doctor's like, it's over in it for a bit, I think. And Ruby's like, oh, I'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, actually, they found my dad because, they still, his mum and dad still live in the same place. He's called William. And he was 15 at the time, never told him.
Why did none of their DNA tests find him? They couldn't find the mother, but they could have found him.
Potentially, yeah.
What's going on with that? Why is he called William? Yeah. Didn't we just have a Gwilliam who was evil?
Ruby says, oh, I think I do need to stay actually for a bit and just see where this goes. I'm gonna dip for a bit. But I love you, man. I fucking love you.
Oh, no. She doesn't say it like that. She says it like a freaking partner confessing.
Okay.
She goes, I love you. And then he looks at her like, the fuck?
He doesn't say it back.
He doesn't say it back. In fact, he looks at her like she's mental. Emotional doctor, everyone. So emotional. I'm so happy that you've just said you love me that I'm going to give you the death stare.
And maybe he just couldn't because it would have choked him up so much because he's, emotional.
No, that was the face of a man who just went really bruh.
Bruh. And that's the last we've seen the doctor in this episode. And we zoom out and we go upstairs onto the roof. It's our favourite. It's Mrs. Flood. Dressed as Romana this time. You said she was dressed as Clara before. She's dressed as Romana this time. I did my research, Ben. Thank you very much.
Yes, good job.
She says a lot of things, but she ends with the doctor's story ends in absolute terror. Night, night. Good sign-offs, Mrs.
This
Flood.
bitch. What?
I'm personally just happy that they decided to sign off one of the worst season finales ever with just a weird ass fourth wall break where they're just like, the doctor's gonna die. Bye.
Bye. Have a great time.
Yeah, she's. I don't know how to take her. Like, I really don't. I really want to like her as a character, but the constant fourth wall breaking kind of gets on my nerves. It's one thing if it's like an inside joke kind of deal, like Fleabag.
Yeah.
Like it's a known thing, you know that that's just what they do, but it's not a thing that's a Doctor Who thing, and I don't like it. It's weird.
Also, Mrs. Flood is 100% just going to be the local tea lady from the elementary school. Don't worry, guys. The only thing that's special about you is how other people perceive you. And we all perceive Mrs. Flood as this kind old lady who's just a neighbor. So that's what she is.
No, I don't think so.
But do you only perceive her that way if you're standing within 73 yards of her?
If
Fourth wall breaks. You can't do this again. Don't make this mystery shit, Davis.
If flipping Ruby's mom is nothing, then everyone who means anything is also nothing. Thank you.
We're at the end of the episode. I don't think this is going to come as a surprise, but let's go on to our episode ratings and overall thoughts.
I'm going to give it a 2, just because I like the people that were in the show. I love having Mel in any episode. Anytime that any of the old companions show up, I'm happy. It just makes me happy. But the amount of plot holes and the size of the plot holes and the freaking fourth wall breaks, and no, Russell needs to go back and try again. And if he's going to say that this or 73 Yards is his favorite episode he's ever written, I have a list of his episodes. He can pick any of them. They're better than these two.
At least there was no singing or dancing in this one. No surprise musicals.
Garbage
Unleash the salt, Ben. Unleash it.
Garbage tier dumpster fire of a waste of my time. Not really the caliber of anything I've seen from Davies ever before. Holy shit, this was bad. Holy shit, the reveal, just so he could flip in fire back at people who liked The Rise of Skywalker. Nobody should like Rise of Skywalker. Terrible. Absolute worst episode of the season. Probably one of the worst episodes ever made of this show, to be honest. Not as bad as The Timeless Child, but very damn near close. I give this a 1 out of 10. I hated it. I want it to go away. What was the point? All of that build-up just for a deflated fart. What the fuck?
You go to hell! You go to hell and you die!
Wow.
See, I knew Ben could do so much better than me.
Right, so I need to revise my 73 yards one. I mean, I have to judge it on the 2 minutes of television that actually mattered in this, which was them walking off the TARDIS and walking down the street. And that was boring. So it's going to get a 2 from me. This episode has made that objectively worse. Because I actually, in my 2 out of 10, I only marked those 2 minutes that meant something. They tried to make some of the rest of the episode mean something, which actually made the whole episode of 3 minutes worse. So let's go down to a 1 on that one. And I'll give this one a 1.5. Marginally better than 73 yards, but so many plot holes here, which I cannot fathom. I cannot fathom what was going through their heads. I just don't, like, none of it made sense. And going slightly backwards to last week, my clock thing, not acknowledged. The timeline didn't fit into the episode. So we're already starting on a really bad footing. And then when you start bringing in the Sutekh being on exploding TARDISes and then being reformed, and then you bring into things like, you know, going for a walk with Sutekh, you bring in the very pièce de résistance is Ruby's mum not being supernatural. And it doesn't make sense that she's normal. I get what he's trying to say. I get that he wants to say everybody gets a participation trophy here. Everybody's special because we think that they're special. Well, you can't do that if you give Ruby supernatural powers. And you can't even say that we're projecting those supernatural powers because he keeps showing throughout the season that she has supernatural powers. Even Ruby acknowledges it in 73 yards, that she used to be able to make it snow. And after the doctor left, she couldn't make it snow anymore. It doesn't make sense.
Because it's dumb! This whole show is dumb! What? It's confusing, it's overwritten.
And I'm still really angry with it. And I'm angry that I had to watch this twice because I watched it in the cinema and I couldn't make notes in the cinema. I didn't get better on the second run. It was just bad. I like Millie Gibson. I don't have a problem with her coming back for a companion episode. Now that we know she's a normie, we can just accept that she's a normie. She's like almost every other companion. I like Ncuti Gatwa. I don't like his doctor. Too emotional means that there's nothing, no weight is to the crying, no weight is to the screams, because he does it in every episode. I'm pissed off with that. I like Ncuti, but if this is his doctor and this is how he's going to be written for the next couple of seasons whilst he's there, regeneration can't come soon enough. Just can't. I'm done with my rant. I want it to be better. I want it to be better. I need more episodes like Dot and Bubble, more like Boom, even Rogue. I can deal with Rogue. I don't want any shit that we've had to endure in the last couple of episodes and in 73 yards and space babies. Fuck them kids. Anyway, I'm done.
I hates it. I hates it.
If you haven't already watched it and you're going to watch it, take anything that's breakable or throwable and move it away from where you're sitting. TVs are expensive. And then if you really want to see good Russell T Davies writing, go back and do like The End of Time or The Sound of the Drums or
Midnight.
Utopia. Yes, Midnight. What was it? Smith and Jones. That's a good one. The one with Kylie Minogue.
The Titanic one, yeah.
The Titanic one is like, I think so.
Voyage of the Damned.
Voyage of the Damned, yeah, I think it's called that.
Yeah.
They have a character in that called Balakafalata. I'd take 10 of him over this. Morris wasn't the worst thing in the episode.
No.
Poor Morris. They give him a machine gun and then he just doesn't get to use it very much.
Anyway.
Yeah. He needs to talk to whoever is in the tech department that the girl with the wheelchair worked with those little rocket launchers.
Give him rocket launchers.
Yeah.
Turn him into a decked out like thing.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
He is of diminutive stature. It would behoove him to arm himself.
He's a literal child.
13 years old with a machine gun.
I'm an American. It doesn't frighten me. It's fine.
Oh no!
I hate closing up on a sour point, but unfortunately, this finale is it.
Yeah, but it's a bad point for this episode this season. Russell's got really good episodes that, if people haven't watched them, they should go and look up all of the episodes that he wrote for the other doctors. Watch those. See how good he can write or how well he can write. Then you'll understand why we're disappointed.
Well, there we are then. That's the finale of the Watching Now Doctor Who podcast. Thank you very much for everyone for joining us here on Couch Soup every week. And if you like this, and please like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff. Become a member of Couch Soup if you can possibly afford it and support independent creators like us. Watching Now still continues. We have Decoding Dragons. It started. The House of the Dragon companion series is keep going with Liz and Michelle. For now, it's a bid adieu from us, from me, Charlotte, Ben, and Drew in his absence today. Thanks everyone for tuning in over the last 7 weeks. We'll probably see you the next time the doc turns up somewhere. Hopefully it'll be better than this episode. Thank you very much, everybody, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I have something that'll blow your mind. Russell T Davies has once again ended a season with a bad wolf.
Okay.
Sutek's a dog wolf.
Okay, fine. Didn't get that. Oh, God damn it. I'm
Hey,
glad...
Charlotte!
At least we know what's in the outtake.
Oh,
So bad. That was so bad.